Hello, YouTube fans. This is Dr. Matthew Johnson. It is Sunday morning, January 14th, 2018, 10:09 a.m. And we have just completed our time together with the luncheon and the night sit, or the open house, the night sit, sleeping out overnight. So before everybody goes bye-bye, and to catch every one of you up to speed, we are going to be discussing, thank you. We're going to be discussing who saw what, heard what, etc. during the night sit, as well as sleeping out overnight. So we're going to work our way around the circle, and here we go with Miss Patty.
Hey everybody, last night was really very interesting. I was in a smaller group, and we were, it was super dark, a lot darker than other night sits. So it wasn't really easy to see anything, at least from my perspective. But when Matt was playing the second song, I started feeling tingling in my mid back, and I had asked him before if they, could or would, or I've got adrenal issues. And so I started tingling on the left side, and then by the time Matt finished, and then he and Cynthia and Steve went on down to another group and moved to the back, and I didn't say anything at first, but then the gentleman sitting next to me, Bill, asked me if I was feeling anything, and I asked him why. He said that there was a shadow right behind my chair and over me. And so that's when I shared that my back was tingling, and it tingled most of the time. It was very cool. And then sleeping over, I chose to sleep in the house last night, and I was the only one that did, and that was kind of reason why I chose to sleep in the house. And they definitely let me know that they were in the house. Very subtle, nothing grandiose, but very cool experience. Thanks.
Thank you. And coming in late, but not too late. Two more people. Have a seat on the couch. We are shooting testimonial videos about night sits and what happened when we're sleeping. Cynthia, you're next.
We moved through the different campsites last night, starting out at the top of the hill. Lots of low lights right over the edge of the hill. A lighted shape behind the garage underneath the lean-to back there, where there's no light there. There's no way that could have been a reflection. Mm-hmm. Rock clacks. Pretty quiet down at the one site at the bottom of the hill, but went out to the other one, and across the valley, across the wetlands, up on the hill, those little tiny flash bulb lights were going off everywhere. Mm. And then right before we left, they were starting to fire off at the tops of the trees. Mm. Last night sleeping, I heard young voice vocalizations when I first crawled into my sleeping bag. And then after that, all I heard was snoring. So it was a pretty quiet night.
And we're not going to say who that was, right, babe?
Who I was sleeping the closest to.
Okay. Alicia.
Oh, yeah. Being since my first time, I've learned that it takes to learn to get the eyes to be able to see. So at our sit last night, the other people that have experience doing this in our circle were seeing things and like the red eyes and very faint, and I look and it's a skill to be able to see in that way. But I did. I would move, and then in my peripheral at the top, like 16 feet above Joel's head, I saw a pretty good sized red flash. Of course, my mind's going, did I really see that? But apparently that's how it works. And then I would see, it's mostly peripheral. I turned right as I'm turning, I'd see it went over here. And then I saw, at one point I was looking at the ground right below my chair, and again, it's like when my head's just moving, I'd see a little flash on the ground. Mm-hmm. So I saw a few of those in our night set. And then last night, I was looking for those same flashes, and I never did see a little flash last night, but if I turned my head this way, the trees are there, and then the sky's behind it, course it's 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was kind of to my peripheral looking and saying, am I seeing something black go between there? So that's kind of, oh yes, and at one point, sometime I woke up, and right when I woke up, it's like I felt something putting my tarp down by my feet.
Okay.
And I've asked for healing on my back, and I did have, my lower back was hurting as usual when I'm sleeping, but as I was explaining it to Dr. J this morning, when I got up, he says, well, is your back hurting now? And I'm like, no. And I got to thinking about it. It's not hurting now. And so,
Awesome.
you know, I have faith that I got visited and healed while I was sleeping. So I know I slept because I have a sore throat and I didn't have my CPAP machine on, so I was sore.
Awesome. Thank you.
Were you outside?
Yeah.
Everybody else was outside.
Randy.
Oh, 2 hours sleep. No, there's got to be an energy here, though, I'll say that. I've been nonstop, and I only had about 2 hours sleep. So there is a palpable, good energy here that I feel. Of course, the group might have a lot to do with that. Fantastic group. Thank you, Matt, by the way. Just, went down to the lower pond down there with Group 1. Fantastic group. Got some new brothers and sisters that I love. And definitely there was, there's activity, there's, I think, is that an orb? Or, I saw this red flash, I saw this green flash. We kept seeing something at the 6 o'clock position that was moving in the woods like an orb type thing, white. There was definitely noises that I weren't able to determine what they were, not super definitive. But as a hunter, since I was a kid, because I feed my family with what I harvest, I got a friend, Keith, that you'll talk to here in a little bit. Definitely some sounds out there with animals I've never heard before. Now, I'm not saying anything other than that. It's just I've never heard the sound that I heard. Other than that, that's about it. Yeah, that's all I can think of.
Okay. Thank you, Randy. Stuart.
Yeah, it was my first time too. It's like Alicia, it took a long time for my eyes to get acclimated. And took me a while to really get into what was going on. And then I just, like I stated before, I saw the orbs in the trees, and then behind the tree would, whole area would light up and then dim down. And that happened 3 times. And numerous white orbs in the tree, in that group of trees that was directly up the hill from the pond there. And then, like was stated earlier, was all kinds of little flickering lights at the tops of the trees on the other side of the wetland. And all in all, awesome experience. Awesome. And then we heard that one noise that was sounded like an owl kind of, but it was kind of metallic at the same time. It was really off. It definitely wasn't an owl, but I don't know what it was, but never heard anything like that before.
Yeah, we heard that noise at the other night sit area as well. It was between the two groups, and it was a bizarre sound, unlike anything I've heard before.
Oh, and the tarp.
Yeah, and the tarp. Yeah.
There was a tarp on her over her sleeping bag, and it was rustling. Somebody was playing with it, and I'm going, man, settle down, go to sleep, And it woke me up twice, and then I woke up before the second time. I woke up and she was getting out of her bed and pulling the tarp back up on the bed. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. And
There's no wind out there.
I didn't think about it till this morning, but it had been put out before on the website that they will come up and pull the tarp off.
Right. Romney, is that what happened?
Yeah, actually,
Okay, now you're not jumping line. I just wanted to hear a yes. Sorry. Thanks, Romney. You get back to that.
But other than
Al-
that, I slept like a rock, and I
Okay.
never sleep like a rock because I got sleep apnea, and I should have had my machine on.
Okay.
So,
Very cool.
I also heard her tarp not to jump back in, but I didn't realize it. I thought it was her all night long. I was doing the same thing. I was like, she must be cold or something.
Okay.
And when he asked her about it this morning, and then she was saying, no, I slept like a rock. We're like, whoa.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Alex.
Fantastic place. It's my first night sitting with a group of people. I usually on my own, but It's amazing. First group, after playing the song, slip sliding away down the trail. I don't see why you warned me up going down. It didn't work for me. Obviously, I got off trail a couple times, but anyway, we got down there. We heard a lot of things. I have to work my eyes over to get to the orbs, but people were seeing orbs. I had a lot of mind zapping going on. We heard a few things go tossed in the lake or the pond.
That's right. You heard about that.
Yeah, and saw some shadows, and then this morning about 6:45, one buddy and I, we went down the trail, of course, and actually we got lost, and we wound up camping on the trail, and then woke up this morning and we're under one of the X's down there, which was pretty cool. But at 6:45 this morning, we could hear the woo on the other side of the pond, and he was wooing for about a good 5-6 minutes, and then
Like, woo! Yeah.
And then the coyotes kicked in,
Yeah.
and then he'd stop wooing, and then when the coyotes calmed down, that time he was probably 200 yards down that way, and he'd start wooing again, and the coyotes would kick in.
Yeah. I heard that all the way up here by the house. That was pretty
It
cool.
was pretty amazing.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
Well, that's about it.
Thank you, sir. Teresa.
Thank you for the invite. I really enjoyed this. It started out, my eyes had trouble adjusting to the dark for quite a while. And then there was the drain creek behind us, and I felt like there was a vibration. I've been hearing the creek water, and then there was something different. And 2 times there was a vibration above the water. And then the light that you talked about, Cynthia, behind the garage that wasn't supposed to be there, it stayed there most of the night. It did. And it seemed to get brighter, and then it would dim.
Ebb and flow.
One time it got so bright that it shone in the trees in front of us. Yeah. And then after that kind of dimmed down, there was like a darkness right in front of us. I didn't see the one behind you, Patty, but and then pretty much that was it for the sit. And then sleeping out, I think I had like an energy inside. I had a hard time getting to sleep. Pretty soon I could hear everybody dozing off, and I was still wide awake. But I get that way on a full moon too, so maybe it's the werewolf or something.
You do have a nice head of hair.
A nice head of hair, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yes.
Yes.
There was a couple of times I felt like the tarp was slipping down, and then I think I fell asleep. It was really hard. I didn't know if I was half awake or half asleep, and I pushed the sleeping bag back a little bit one time, and I could smell gardenias. I had that smell, and then I said thank you in my sleep. And I took my white marble and I put it underneath my cot by the arm of the cot, in the middle, the leg. And I set it right next to the leg. And this morning it was like 2 inches moved forward. And one time I turned my head and I felt like there was a face next to me, and then it backed off. Well, I don't know.
Cool.
This is my first time, so I don't know if I'm awake or dreaming.
No, that stuff happens. And Alex, you smelled the smell she had talked about as well as.
Yeah, the floral smells.
Yeah.
And earthy smells. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching this YouTube video, it is in January. Nothing is blooming.
Yeah.
There's nothing blooming out there that would create those smells. Rami.
Hi, and thank you for having me. This has just been such a wonderful experience. So my first thing that happened that I didn't even realize is when we took our walk during the day just to kind of get an idea of the layout of the land before it was dark. And I was snapping a couple pictures, and I got me a wonderful green orb. I just absolutely love it. And it's behind the trees. You can see when you blow it up, you can see the limbs in front of it and whatnot. I can't wait to post it for you all. Didn't know it was there when I took the picture. Didn't see it. So we came back up here. We did the night sit in the mid area there with I think it was Joel and Nancy. And again, you're right, it's the eyes. You have to kind of almost unfocus, like looking at one of those pictures with the stuff in front of it, and you got to focus in order to see it, or unfocus, I should say. We did smell the flowers at the night set. We did smell that. There was, it looked to me like fireflies, little sparks of light. Now everybody else, like the ones that have been there before, they were seeing juveniles come up to us. They were seeing people, behind us. I didn't see that. It did get really dark a couple times, really dark, and then we light back up again, and then get really dark. There was something else. A mist, a kind of a white mist that kind of just went by. So then after that, we came up here and slept outside. And usually I'm up 2 or 3 times throughout the night, having to go to the bathroom. I'm up for a good hour or two. Slept like a rock.
Cool.
Except I was just on a slight incline, and every once in a while I'd slide down and have to grab the top of my coat and pull myself back up. But I woke up and my tarp was completely off me. It was at the bottom of the end of the cot on the ground, but it wasn't crumpled, it wasn't wrinkled. It was nice and square and laid out. But that's when he heard me pick it up and put it back on.
You mean from where you were wearing it, all the way?
All the way, yeah, all the way on the ground, not touching the cot at all, and just perfectly like it was folded out, like they took it and.
Wow.
They've done that numerous times with other people that have gone out with me to SOA or Soya. They take it off the cot and almost like fold it up.
Wow.
They determined you didn't need it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They determined you didn't need it.
You know what I've learned over time is they do that because the tarps kind of hinder their work if they want to work on your body. So they take the tarp off, and if you have extra blankets on top of your sleeping bag, they'll fold those back too, so they can. It can be too thick and get in the way. So if it's there, they'll take it off. But when they do, they're pretty nice about it and pretty neat about it.
I wondered why my blankets were all over the. I had 3 blankets on, and this morning they were all crumpled over to the side, and my sleeping bag was out from under me, and
Yeah.
And then this morning I did hear just a light, the woo. I don't know if you went ooh. I heard that once or twice, and then the coyotes. I heard the coyotes yipping,
Right.
and that was my wonderful experience.
Okay. Thank you. Pamela?
Yes, darling. It's been beautiful, thank you. I'm glad I came. This is the first time I've been with the group to do this at all, and with you. And I loved our walk down. I'm glad we did that first beautiful land and territory. And we saw blue flashes on the way down during the day. So I already knew where I was going to be, because where I saw the blue flash first, I said, okay, I'm supposed to be here. So that was like position 3 for night sit. So I was with Joel and Nancy and Teresa and Romy. And yes, there was lots of flashing going on. Every once in a while I could see a dark shadow. I could see an arch of a dark shadow, just a rim of light around this blink in and blink out. Or I could see another time I saw like the movement of an arm, which we knew was nobody's in human form. And then the smells, the bouquet of smells, is like really depth, sweet, gardenia, and then there were just all these different flavors of smells coming through. And then when we went to go do the sleepover, that was fun. We didn't go to bed till 1 a.m.
Nope.
And once I got settled in, I thought that this is the best sleepover in a rainforest I've ever had because I didn't get wet.
Yeah.
I didn't even get dewed on too much. And I just put my body right down into a cocoon. It doesn't move. And then at one point, I came to consciousness and rolled over and was just listening to all the sounds around me. And I could hear ruffling in the forest and the ferns, sometimes sounding like tarps. But I just kept listening to make sure that I'm, what am I hearing surrounding, by. And then I just kept waiting, and I kept putting my mind on them. And then I got tagged. And I felt like I got tagged by a juvenile because it was like this. And I felt the electrostatic energy go. And then I said, okay, and then the next one came. It was longer, and it was longer where it was almost lifting me out of my body. And it was really beautiful feeling. And then I got settled back in, and I was like, thank you very much. We will have further conversations, I know.
Awesome.
Yeah, very awesome.
Thank you, Pamela. Michelle.
Hello.
Hello.
So this was my first night sit too. During the night sit itself, we were at group 2 in the middle section. I saw quite a few white orbs, sparkles orbs.
Mm-hmm.
Very low to the ground, most of them. Maybe 3 feet off the ground is the highest that I saw them.
Mm-hmm.
During the night sit. We were inundated with the smell of flowers twice that I recall during our night sit. And it was unmistakable. There's no doubt about it. Almost like who sprayed perfume. It was just like I'd almost taste it. It was amazing. Yes. And then during the nighttime where we slept outside, that was a whole different world.
What happened?
Well, we had the, I don't know if you call it yell, clearly not any kind of animal other than obviously a sense watch of some sort. Just the sound itself, the duration, how deep it was, you could tell that it was across the lake somewhere or the pond. And then as soon as it stopped, the coyotes yipped. That happened twice. There were twig breaks, and I mean unmistakable. The twig falls, it doesn't break when it hits the ground. It doesn't happen. So I heard that twice. And then at some point during the night, I think it was closer to the morning, I got super cold, and I had the blanket all the way up over my head. So that my blanket is 2 different colors. The inside part that's black is what I had near my head, and it was still very dark out. So I had my eyes open because I was laying there and I was just trying to will myself to be warmer. But my eyes were open, and so as I'm laying there, and because I'm listening, and my eyes are open, I'm not sleeping, and I'm looking at the darkness, and I see like a tealish, bluish light, almost like the flame from a gas, but not. And it did like a swirl thing inside my blanket. At first, I was like, oh, wow. So if you stare in the darkness long enough, you'll start to see colors. Like it didn't even occur to me until after this morning when I was talking with Alex about it. I'm like, do you think you could look at the dark long enough like that you would start to see colors? You know, like if you rub your eyes real hard. I wasn't doing anything like that. And what it did, it swirled. It was like swirling, like almost like water going down a drain, but then it would come back up. I had one pocket here. I had the blanket up and a pocket here, so I wasn't breathing in the blanket when I was breathing, and I wanted all the heat in, so I wanted all my exhaust from my mouth out there too. Exhaust from my mouth. I'm so tired. And so after a while, I thought, is this one of you guys? You are so, Alex said, you heard me talking. I was trying to be quiet because I started talking to it. So I'm like, well, okay, either there's, I don't know if I'm making myself see this, but I'm just not that creative. And the way it was moving, like I would never have thought to even make it do that, the way it did it. And it just It went on for at least a minute, maybe just a little bit longer. And I'm kind of shaking now talking about it because it just did not occur to me until later when I started thinking about it that there was an orb in my blanket. Like, there was literally an orb in my blanket, here on a night sit. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. It was amazing. It was.
Sure it wasn't Lent.
Very right now. Like, I just feel very grateful. I feel really lucky.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm so glad I got to meet all you guys. It's been great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Keith.
It's your turn.
Well, this is my second night sit with Matt and Cynthia. The first time we did a sit with them, I wasn't sure what I was looking at, and Cynthia said something great. She should just take it in as data, because I didn't know if I was trying to see something or hoping really bad to see something. So, like I said, we were group 1. Matt said the first thing you do is make your clock points. We made our 12, 6, 3, 9 points, and just as soon as we did that, we heard this huge splash in the pond. And I'm like, wow. It was just a wow. And I'm like, this is going to be a good evening.
You just made that up in your mind, boy. You wanted to hear that.
The beaver. Not really.
Yeah.
Stitched a beaver. You know, because the hair stands on the back of your neck because, you know, at that time of night, there's not a whole lot of people out walking around except for people looking for what we were looking for.
Down in the wetlands. No one has access to it. Yep. Okay.
So we started, just before we started to introduce ourselves, Dawn said that she's seen an orb, and we turn around and you can see this little orb. It was a greenish, bluish orb that was just kind of dancing around, and then there was a red one, and then
Lens-
Randy was saying,
Lens flare.
yeah, lens flare. And we heard something that sounded kind of like an owl, like a big metal owl, or it just wasn't quite an owl.
Yeah.
And heard you know, the coyotes a couple times, and they confirmed me that I had seen the orbs were lens flares. Was Cynthia came down and was checking on us, and she says, "Well, have you guys seen anything?" And I said, "Well, at 6 o'clock there's an orb," and she turns around, she goes, "Oh my, oh my!" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing things." She's seeing it too, and then she turns around and looks at our 12 across to the pond area, and that whole tree line section was just full of sprites. It was just amazing. I really enjoyed it. I didn't smell the floral that the other guys did, but you know, hey, it's all in turn, and really enjoyed it. And thank Matt and Cynthia and everybody here. It was an awesome night. Nothing for me on the night sit, or not night sit, the sleepover at night. Just first time I've ever slept out without a tent or in a trailer. It was pretty cool.
It
was.
Cool.
Perfect temperature.
Yeah, perfect temperature.
Dawn kept you safe. Yeah. Hello, Dawn.
I was in group 1, and pretty much everything that they said. 3 times we heard the owl, but it's a different resonance. And so you could tell it wasn't an owl. And it was always at the 11 o'clock point from where we were sitting. We started hearing the noises right off the bat. Snapping sticks. You could tell something was walking around, not tree limbs falling or just the crackling of the cold settling in. After we introduced ourselves, Alex sang a little welcoming song, and as soon as he started singing, he had 2 red orbs dancing on him.
Which I couldn't see.
Yeah. Smelled the floral smell a couple times throughout the night. One of the times that I smelled it really, really strong, we had 2 people that are really close to us. We have somebody that's close to us, and I think, Stuart, was it your sister you were telling us about? Or
Yeah, my niece.
his niece. So we said a little prayer for them because they're in a lot of need of prayer right now. So we said a little prayer, and right when we started to do that, just bouquet of flowers. Very strong, and you could see little orbs dancing around. Lots of energy, lots of energy. I felt the vibration through my body several times throughout the night. Felt like little things were touching me off and on. At one point, Keith told me that I had a green orb above my head. Walking back up, walking down, you could feel the energy as well. And during the day, and like she said, the orbs in the pictures that we caught during the day walk when we first went down, got lots of those, felt lots and lots of energy. And then sleeping at night. As soon as I could hear everybody get quiet and calm, settled in, I took a deep breath, just kind of relaxed, and as soon as I did that, I hear this right behind the little woodshed back there. Didn't sleep much. I was like, I was for sure I was going to sleep because I don't get much sleep most of the time, and I was like, okay, great, I'm outside, I'm gonna sleep. So I heard several noises throughout the night. You could hear something walking around off and on behind the woodshed, up in the tree lines. I could hear everybody that was snoring. So you can make out the distinctive noises.
What you looking at, boy?
He was snoring too.
Thank you.
I did sleep a little bit, but I would wake up and just feel like there's somebody right there next to you, watching you, walking around, just guarding all of us. So the feeling was very, very strong.
Cool. Thank you. Marky.
So I want to say thank you for being invited to the Johnson Extreme Fitness Center.
Going up and down that hill.
Yeah, and that's probably like a 10% grade, so in places. And, now nicknamed Johnson's Ankle.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a little bit right there, okay?
So I was in group 2.
Well,
for the night set, and it was really quiet. We didn't have hardly very little interaction with anything, other than we heard some noises that probably we kind of determined might have been rodents or a mouse. But later, I had a buzzing noise like a fly. Now this is January, and so there's no flies out. And then when Matt and Cynthia showed up with Steve, Cynthia also heard buzzing noises like a fly.